ladies and gentlemen, it is February 2nd, 2022, and this is FAWMtalk. I'm, of course, Juha, and with me as always, well, currently, as always, Mr. Head First Only, Chris. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right, mate. I'm doing all right. 2 days in. How are we doing?
Well, I got 7 songs done, so that's not too bad.
What? 7?
Yeah, but I feel like I haven't gotten anything done. I was like, I gotta get writing songs soon.
I thought I was overachieving with 3.
Yeah, but yours are like, those are some productions, man.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I have been having so much fun this year. I hope everybody out there in FAWM Chatland has been having fun as well. Let's have a look in the chat. Who's there? AI is there. DJ Kenneth A. Hello, hello. Dragon Dreams. Hello. Brad Brubaker. Hello. Pearl Manhattan. Hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Who have I missed? Have I missed anybody?
I think that's all. It says like concurrent viewers 1, so that's pretty accurate, huh? Hello, Eric.
Hi, Eric. Hello, hello.
So speaking of AI, let's go to our first track.
Let's do that.
By AI. It's called, I think, Initium Finis. It's the first track here. So here we go.
This is the World Adventurers Club, an organization of adventurers, explorers, and soldiers of fortune. We bring to you hair-raising and breathtaking tales of exploits, home from strange lands among strange people.
That is Initium Finis by AI.
I love that track. As I was saying on the track, that track cost me money. This is all your fault, AI, because I heard that track last night because I was checking up on DJ Kenneth A, as you may know him as well, on his progress, and listened to both tracks that he'd uploaded yesterday. And the piano in that, I mean, you know me, I'm a sucker for a good piano sound. And that one, I actually messaged him on Slack and said, "What was that piano?" And he said, "Oh, that's Heaviosity's Ascend, only it's a custom patch that I made of it." And it was like, oh. And it would have stayed there had not AI then messaged me back going, "And it's currently on sale for half price at the Native Instruments site." So I just messaged him back and said, "God damn it!" And went and bought it. So, and thank you very much for sending me your custom patches. I've been playing with them.
That's the beginning of the end.
It's my rapid downfall and decline.
It's on sale.
Piano.
So never say it's on sale to Chris. It's like you're ruining his economy. But yeah, that's like really
just awesome.
You sound like I love this artist called Thomas Bergerson. It's been doing these albums called Humanity. It's on chapter 4 currently. Really, really excellent. He's been doing soundtrack type of music a lot, and I think Thomas has like perfected his music. I've been loving the last 4 releases, but yeah, that one.
Thomas Bergerson was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I can link it to you later, but yeah, this one.
Ooh, yeah.
It's got like 6, 7 different themes or feels to it. And it keeps the pacing is excellent. How it builds to these different atmospheres.
And a sample of our very own Metalfoot popping up at the end. So that's Alex going, "We will explore." So rather splendid stuff.
That explains it.
Yeah.
Well, but since we were speaking about the tracks we've been making, you said that your songs have been getting this song that you made was like a really weird song for you. Do you think your songs have been getting weirder as the time goes on?
I like to keep pushing myself. I like to do stuff that I've not tried before.
Yeah.
To that end, I've been trying to write stuff that isn't 1/4/5 chord progressions, the blues status quo boogie progression. I've been trying not to write everything at 120 beats per minute, and I've been assiduously and very enthusiastically not writing stuff in 4/4. So Amanda messaged me on my soundboard yesterday going, "Where's all your weird prog stuff?" It's like, I have been doing weird prog stuff. So I'm basically on my show tomorrow on Twitch, I'm going to drop an album that I've spent the last 5 weeks or so putting together called By the Numbers. And I started that album. The first track is in 3/4. The next track is in 4/4. The track after that is in 5/4. The track after that is in 6/8. The track after that is in 7/8. And you can see where this goes. And I ended up sitting in here late one night trying to come up with a riff in 1916 time signatures. And it's like, this is just silly. So maybe I've sort of reached the buffers in terms of the weirdness, and I'm just drawing it back. So today I wrote a song in 7/8, and it was like, well, this is quite straightforward. And then everybody else started making comments in the soundboard of it, saying, "This hurts my head." It's only 7 beats to the bar. It's not like it's 15 or something.
It's like, what do you think that is? Like, what do we keep doing, pushing? Do you think normal type of music bores you? Do you feel like if you had to do like a normal rock track, it would just be like you would just feel put off by the process?
No, I still hugely enjoy doing just straightforward rock tracks and stuff like that, and I still hugely enjoy playing 1/4/5 blues progressions. But you can fall into habits. You can just sit there noodling and playing the same riff or the same scale over and over again, and once you get into that, you stop making progress.
Yeah.
And come on, my genre is progressive rock. The idea is you're supposed to get better at it, I think that's why it's called progressive.
But do you think progressive rock, well, this is almost like a different topic, but I've been a huge Iron Maiden fan ever since I was a young teenager, and their music doesn't really interest me anymore. Not because I've grown out of it, but because I think they have grown out of it. They are very hard trying to be a prog band these days, and I don't think they necessarily have the chops for it. But I don't know why that is. Is it like, did they grow bored with their own music? And it's sort of what I'm thinking. I don't know what got me into this line of thought. Like, what were we talking about?
I mean, first off, I am also a big Iron Maiden fan, hence the Adrian Smith Jackson guitar there. But yeah, I first saw Maiden back at they recorded a show at the Rainbow in Finsbury Park in London back in about 1979, and I went along. And at the end of the show, Paul Di'Anno, for it was he who was doing the vocals back then, came back on stage and said, the recording mobile's cocked everything up. Would you mind if we did the whole concert again? So, I mean, they have previous for repeating themselves, is the point that I make. But no, I think maybe a lot of it is due to rock critics just going, oh, it just sounds exactly the same as their last album and the last album before that. And I think there's some bands just go, well, we don't care.
Yeah.
That's what we do and we like doing it. So we're going to completely continue to do it, and we'll be doing it in 40 years' time.
Yeah.
But that, I think, if you have any sort of, I don't know, chink in your armor of ego or self-consciousness or self-esteem or sense of self-worth, if you let any of that get in, and it will start irritating you. I think that's maybe what's driving them now.
It could be that. I also think maybe because they have done more complex pieces. I mean, their first album featured Phantom of the Opera, which is a rather progressive sounding piece. They have longer pieces like Sign of the Cross. They have Rime of the Ancient Mariner. But they have like that used to be like one Curiosity on each album, and now that's pretty much all they do. And the Trooper type of song is now the Curiosity on the newest album. That is like a double album. But I think I guess what I was getting at is, do you think progressive rock as a term should be applied to each artist individually, or is it more like pushing rock as a genre forward, or is it more like pushing an artist forward, like progressing as a musical artist? Because I think that's probably, if you think about Steve Harris, maybe he's more thinking about, well, I've done all those songs already, and maybe he's feeling like you, that he's getting a little bit stagnant, so he's trying to push himself into doing more, I don't know, interesting compositions.
or not playing a bass line that just goes dum ba dum ba dum ba dum.
Well, has he ever done that?
It's Mr. Harris.
If you listen to like 2 Minutes to Midnight, it's like it just keeps going all over the place. But that also gives you, I think, clues me into thinking that maybe he just gets very bored with the same sort of thing. It keeps doing like his mind keeps wandering.
Well, I mean, it has to be said they are all very bright lads. Mr. Dickinson, in particular, is not your average rock and roll singer. You know, he was a Hertfordshire fencing champion in the 1970s. He flew for BMI, one of the UK's airlines in the 1980s, and was forever being told by people getting off the plane at the end and shaking his hand, you know, you sound like that bloke from Iron Maiden and you've got exactly the same name.
Yeah.
But
he flies their gig plane. Like other bands have tour buses.
Yeah,
they have tour plane.
Yeah, I'll fly this one, lads. We don't need to hire a pilot. I've got a great idea. But I mean, you made a very interesting point, and I think it's one I would like to pick up on about genre, about the fact that bands like Iron Maiden get lumped or labelled with the NWOBM, the new wave of British heavy metal bands, and there is a definite vibe and a definite sound to new wave of British heavy metal bands. And my mate Paul, who I quite often have a beer with in the village here, has been in several of those new wave of British heavy metal bands, including Toad the Wet Sprocket and Salem and currently Sacrilege. Oh. And yeah, it's got its purpose, it's got its usage, but Paul does an awful lot of stuff other than that. And I've been nudging him to do February album writing month, and I think I've nearly got him signed up.
Yeah, he's gotta come with us. Come with us.
Come with us. Be one of us.
Yeah, we definitely need more of that British heavy metal in FAWM.
Well, we do have our dear friend, the Lord Sapient.
Oh, yes.
It must be said, who is making me sick at the moment because he's decided to play drums, real drums, on all his tracks. And he's going, oh, yeah, I've only been learning for about 6 months. And how's he do it?
Well, he's got to be a little bit obsessed. I mean, you should know something about that, but it's not even playing the drums that impresses me. I'm like, sure, playing drums it's a fantastic skill, and being able to do that on your tracks, that's really, really cool. But what impresses me is that he recorded the drums. Like, if you mic the drums, you get everything to play together and be not out of phase and just get all those awful sounds out of the recordings. That's like, I would not have patience for that.
Yeah, Brad Brubaker has just said on the chat, I know, right? 6 months. Dragon Dreams Paul added, yeah, and mandolin. So we are in awe here at the FAWMtalk.
All right, let's
Lord Sapient's talents.
Let's listen to some more music. It's a good spot for it. So here's another cool song. This one is by Das Binky. It's called Trapped.
trapped in my own head. It's crowded in here. Gears are turning. Thoughts adjourning. It's crowded in here. When I'm alone, things keep returning. I'm never learning. From moment to memory, you haunt you dark and every aspect of the reverie that keeps me hanging on. I'm trapped in my own head. It's lonely in here. Faith negation, self-preservation. From moment to memory, you color, you love it up heavily. Facet of the sensory that keeps me going on. From memory to recollection, I live and die with each inflection. I wander on with no direction until I know you're gone. I'm trapped in my own head. It's quiet in here.
Trapped by Das Binky. That had really like 90s feeling sound. And I was thinking that sounds kind of like 90s Porcupine Tree. It's got very much the same
Yeah.
sort of tonality.
Yeah, I get that. Early Muse as well, perhaps. And when Das Binky goes for it vocally and gets that really very, very slightly ranty edge to his voice, really brought to mind Roger Waters in sort of the Wall era Pink Floyd, when he really started getting angry doing vocals and really let the emotion through.
Oh yeah, I get that.
Yeah. So nice one from Das Binky there. What was that one called again?
Trapped.
Trapped. Very, very good.
Yeah. More of those, please.
Definitely. Keep them coming. Keep them coming, mate.
Well, getting back to our earlier conversation, do you think, if you think back to what you were writing like 10 years ago, or like 8 years ago, something like that, do you feel like writing the same type of music, or do you think you still write the same type of music as back then?
I think you always sort of let your influence, well, I certainly let my influences come through in the music that I'm making, and I always have. The only difference between sort of 10 years ago now is that I'm a lot more able to actually get what I want to do recorded, because not just the technology, but also as a musician, I am in a very, very different place now than I was even 5 years ago, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I've just been doing so much of it. And it's all credit to February Album Writing Month. It's doing the 10 years before I signed up to February Album Writing Month, I had a little Fostex X15 4-track cassette recorder. And it was, when I got it, it was like, I am going to be a home recordist. I'm going to make my own music. How many pieces of music did I make in the 10 years before FAWM? 3.
Well, that's still pretty good.
And they were pretty rubbish, it has to be said.
Well,
they were mainly, in fact, and I was forced into doing 2 of them because we were doing computer-based training. So we were using things like, at the time, it was Macromedia Flash. This was before Adobe bought them.
Yeah. And
we would create the company I worked for, we had really cool little jobs. We created the CD-based instruction manual for like Hewlett-Packard tape backup systems. So you got your tape backup system and it came with a CD, and that had like little Macromedia Flash animations on that showed how to use it. And my boss basically said, this is boring with just people talking. Well, we need some music. You do music. Make us some music. So okay.
Yeah, you gotta have something to do. But you bring up a good point. Like, I was always very interested in making music, and I remember we used to try to make music with my dad, and he had this 4-track. I don't even remember what brand it was, maybe a Kai or something.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I always hated the fact that when you recorded one take with the drums and then you recorded another with guitar, they always were a little bit off aligned. They didn't quite match on the tape. So I always wanted to make music, and I always wanted to make like stuff, like professional sounding stuff. And I think when I finally started to really get into that, it was like 2010 or something, and I bought this mic that I have here, 2010, and that was like the first real piece of recording equipment that I bought. And yeah, then that's when I decided to like start making music, and I made like probably five tracks, and then I found FAWM. Like pretty much like 2 months after that, I found FAWM, and I started making like huge amounts of songs. And they were kind of rubbish, but I still like love listening to them because they are still very much me. I always feel that if I could remake these, it would be so much fun to listen to. But also, my skills have gone up. I couldn't sing worth a damn back then, and everything that I sung, my first FAWM album is Iron Maiden type of stuff, but the vocals are like really low. They're like, it's not Iron Maiden vocals. And after that, I've learned a little bit how to sing, and now the vocals go like, like really high. And if I remade those songs, I can't really sing the same vocal lines, so I would have to. You're in a dilemma. Like, what do you do? Do you just raise the key of the songs? Do you just sing the vocals like you used to? Do you try to sing the vocals an octave up, because that doesn't really sound plausible? But yeah, I just keep making songs. I kept making like every FAWM. Tons and tons of songs, and my progress was like just huge leaps in quality, and I'm talking both songwriting and production. So I understand absolutely what you mean. It's just some people, I see them talking about songwriting and they're like, well, last FAWM I made 1 song, and this year I've been like struggling with making another one, and I'm trying to do maybe a second one, but it's so difficult. And I keep thinking, just keep making songs, just make whatever you can make, and the overall quality will keep rising. But if you never make anything, then you won't get the experience.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I love about FAWM is that the whole point, and if you're worried about uploading your stuff out there when you're watching this, please don't be. We're a very supportive bunch. We do like helping people.
Yeah.
FAWM encourages you to just form it, which basically means set yourself an amount of time, and whatever you've done in that time, that goes on the website, that goes on your soundboard. That's song number 1 done. So then you do song number 2, and then you do song number 3, and don't be precious about it. That's the thing that I learned doing this. It's like I used to cringe when I heard myself sing.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, I cringe now hearing my guitar playing and just the recording quality that I was getting from a Fostex X15 that was then plugged into the Sound Blaster on my original PC and literally recorded with like Audacity from the Fostex. They're terrible, but the next year when I came back, they were a bit better. And the more songs that you write and the more years that you keep coming back, the better and better and better you get.
Yeah, and
it's just going through the grind. You know, if somebody said you're going to write, 5 chart-topping hits, but you've got to write 500 pieces that are a bit rubbish first, the thing to do is, well, I'm just going to get through those 500 as quick as I possibly can.
Yeah.
And that's the secret.
That's a very good thing to remember. Like if you, that's really is the secret of FAWM, is that if you think that, and we always say, feel free to just do whatever and just do 5 songs, just do 3 songs, whatever. But if you do the 14 songs, that's going to be so beneficial. Even if they're all garbage, then you're still going to have the experience from making those songs. And who knows? Something that feels like this is rubbish to you, there might be 20 people who are genuinely on the site telling you that this is exactly what I like listening to. And your vocals are amazing.
That is such an important point. The fact that you are not the boss of your song once your song is written. And both the fact that what you intended that song to be is not necessarily what somebody else will draw from that song. And you might consider that one of the songs that you've written is the most lowly piece of trash that you've ever committed to tape. If anybody does still, well, there are people out there who still commit stuff to tape in February album writing month. But for somebody else, that might be the track that they listen to going, I get that. I want to do that.
Yeah.
So important.
You can be, even if you don't intend to, you can be inspirational to other people around you. And to your point about how supportive the community is in FAWM, it's because we have all been beginners. Every time you think to yourself, like, oh, my song sounds so bad, the production is so rubbish. Well, post it anyway. People are gonna love it, and they're gonna think back to their beginning, and like they're gonna be thinking, I get this, because they've done the same thing.
Yeah. And the other thing is that the more you do it, the more all the worry about recording and performing and everything else starts moving out of the way, and the music starts to reflect your own personality a lot more. And your vocals are a classic example that I'm just not going to try and put myself in any position where anybody's going to grumble at me for doing it. Whereas now it's like, run to the hills. It's that performance aspect of it that if you do the work for long enough, the performance aspect of it ceases to be terrifying, I mean, everybody has performance anxiety. I certainly still have imposter syndrome. It's like, am I really qualified to be sitting in here with half a dozen people out there on YouTube watching me pontificate about how to record music at home? I mean, I'm complete dilettante at all this, but
Well,
I still do it because I've been doing it for a long time. So, just the odds are that I will discover the occasional random thing. It's like, oh, that works. And you just keep doing it until you've got a little bag of things that work.
you think you have imposter syndrome? I'm sitting here next to you. I'm thinking to myself, this guy knows what he's talking about. He knows all the bands. He can name everything. You ask him about some random piece of movie soundtrack. He can name you every single person in that movie's cast and crew. I'm here like, I don't know anything. I can play a couple of things on bass. Like, that's pretty good.
Yeah, but I'm just weird.
Well, that's not an entirely bad thing in my book.
No, I guess not.
Well,
I guess not.
Let's go to our next track then. This one is by one of my favorite artists on FAWM. Don't tell anybody. It's by Phil Henry, called Keep On Singing.
Up here in 70, I just might lose my mind, staring at the city lights and the snowfall outside. It's been so quiet, all I do is think about the state of the world we're in and how I need a drink. I guess I can sing a song instead. I sing a song of sixpence and coming through the ride, the early morning rain, the sweet by and by. The songs my mama taught me when I was just a child. The words I long forgotten come roaring back to life tonight. They echo in my head. Pound on the ceiling, stomp on the floor. Don't mind the super drumming backbeat on the door. You shout all you want, I won't hear a thing, no. I'm gonna keep on singing. I try to watch the news, but all I see is war. A war of words in Washington and a brawl outside my door. And all anybody wants to settle up the score. And I don't know anyone who's winning anymore. The only thing I can do is sing. So, pound on the ceiling, stomp on the floor. Don't mind the super drumming backbeat on the door. You shout all you want, I won't hear a thing, no. I'm gonna keep on singing. All at once my will is gone, and I can sing no more. My throat is sore and sorry, and I slump down to the floor. And in a gasp of silence, I hear a sweet voice call. The song is so familiar, press my ear up to the wall. She's singing, hard times come again, no more. Out on the ceiling, stomp on the floor. Don't mind the super drumming backbeat on the door. You shout all you want, I won't hear a thing, no. I'm gonna keep on singing. We're gonna keep on singing.
Phil Henry, Keep On Singing.
That is just so many different kinds of awesome.
I know, right?
It just does not put a foot wrong. I love that track. I love that track.
Like we both love that progressive music, but talk about a great song in 4/4.
Yeah, and if you really want to draw the listeners in, stomp, clap,
Yeah.
stomp, stomp, clap. is gonna get them every time.
I just love this music.
So cool.
I've been his fan since 2012 when I first heard his music on FAWM. Did this great track about DB Cooper. We talked about
fantastic
in your cast.
That's my wheelhouse. That is DB Cooper.
I gotta send you that track. It's really good.
I need to hear that. I definitely need to hear that.
And also, we were just talking about people who get better as the time goes by, but those songs he did like a decade ago sound exactly like these ones do now.
Just polished.
He's always been doing the most polished music. It's such an incredible musician, that one. Very, very good.
Awesome stuff.
Well,
so apropos of nothing, there was a post. This is my catchphrase for this show, I think. There was a post that I'd sort of want to surface for maybe newbies, maybe FAWMlings who've not done February album writing month before. Somebody, I've forgotten who it was, to my shame, because I should have written it down. But they said, when you're uploading files that are downloadable in February album writing month, and the reason I'm saying this now is because Juha reminded me this, because he'd obviously downloaded a file that he really liked back in, what was it, man, 2012?
Actually, well, I did download it back then, but I lost it. And last time we did FAWMtalk, I was talking about this with somebody. I don't know who it was, but they said that they have the file. So I have had them send it to me. But yeah, yes.
But the point is that if that file was just the song title, they wouldn't know who'd done it. So please put your FAWM name in every file that you upload for February album writing month. And so what I do with mine, I used to do head first only. I used to have the song number that I'd created, so 01. And then I used to have head first only, but on my little MP3 player, I could never see the actual song title at the end. So now it's just 01 _ HFO _ song title. Please do. I mean, don't put all your songs as head first only songs, because that wouldn't be fair. But and the other thing, sorry, so do that. Put your number, who you are, and what your song title is. And if you can possibly manage, please don't leave spaces in your file names, because Macintoshes are fine and they go, oh, space, and they deal with it perfectly right. But when that then arrives on our humble Windows computers, rather than a space, it's %20 _ %2f / / %2f _ %20 my song title, and it does tend to get in the way. Right, rant over. Thank you.
And speaking of downloading music, if you have been enjoying listening to this music on our little show here and would like your song to be in the show, then please make sure that you make your songs downloadable. And this should happen automatically on the FAWM site if you just put a MP3 URL on the song link. But on SoundCloud, it doesn't.
It doesn't. No, you actually have to physically, I believe, tick a little checkbox about halfway down the submit this song page that says make this song downloadable.
But I think that it is automatically saying yes, because I have been posting songs and it's always yes, and I have been making a point to make them not downloadable because we are doing this music for another project. So
I beg your pardon, and I stand corrected.
Hopefully, maybe you're right. Maybe it's just doing that for me. Maybe I have some settings set it up for like that. But on SoundCloud, it is most definitely defaulting to not downloadable. So if you are uploading to SoundCloud a lot, and you would like us to have access to your song and be able to play it on the show, then please make sure that you go to the song's settings and set the song as downloadable, and so we can go grab it if we so desire. And also, here's a little link where you can go submit a song for our consideration for the jury. And we'll, if we get good songs with the FAWM, we are definitely gonna play those in the show. What else?
Well, actually, on the topic of SoundCloud,
Yeah.
If you are using SoundCloud and are using the embedded player on your FAWM profile pages, I would recommend that you keep going back to your submitted songs and checked that you have not been spammed, because sadly this is a big problem in SoundCloud, that you get comments popping up when people are listening to your songs through the SoundCloud player, but most of them these days sadly seem to be Google such and such a website and find out how to buy lots of listeners on SoundCloud. It's very sad, and SoundCloud just have more or less given up on trying to control spam, which is why I don't use SoundCloud anymore, I'm afraid. But if you're using SoundCloud, do check that you haven't been spammed in your comments, and do us a favor and report the people who are doing it, because they're getting away with it at the moment. It breaks my heart that, you know, what should be a site for sharing creativity and music is just a get rich quick scheme, a get rich quick scheme for nefarious people these days.
It could be both. Well,
it could be both. Could be both.
Okay, one more thing I wanted to touch on, the topic we were discussing earlier about where our songwriting is going. Do you think that musically you still have something to prove? Do you think you have written your masterpiece already, or is it still looming in the horizon?
Oh, I've barely started. That's what it feels like to me. There is a lovely story about the pianist Pablo Casals, who was interviewed at the grand old age of 92, and I mean he'd performed everywhere and done everything, and the interviewer said, "Well, why do you still practice?" And Casals said, I think I'm beginning to make some progress. I mean, if you stop learning, you stop living, as far as I'm concerned. It's all about trying to better yourself. It's all about, for me, I mean, I haven't got the physical coordination to play like all these sort of shred monsters that you see on heavy metal albums these days, but I still love playing guitar, so I'm focusing on the emotion of playing the guitar rather than, you know, playing 64 billion notes every second, you know, or the flight of the bumblebee at 600 beats per minute. There's a YouTube video of that. That's it's just ridiculous.
And it's like a circus act, right?
yeah. Not my circus, not my monkeys.
Yeah, but I was talking about this because it feels like, all right. So we have talked about this subject with a friend of mine, and this seems to come up often, where it seems like there are these people who are revered as masters of their field, and they have made some grand piece of art once upon a time, like maybe a video game, maybe an album, maybe a movie, something like this. And after that point, it seems like they are slowly regressing almost. They are not making the same quality. They are not hyping to the same standards, and it's just what they gradually start producing is just something, just whatever. I'm just making this now. And what comes to mind is what we talked about on Slack a couple of days ago. Is Jethro Tull released a new album, which I think is not really on par with the stuff that they released back in the 70s, 80s, like Heavy Horses, that sort of stuff. Like my favorite Tull albums, which are very, I would say, not convoluted, but they have a lot of very interesting mechanics going for the songs. And I don't think the new Tull is on the same level. I think they are just doing something because they like making music.
Yeah, I get that not every musician's path will take them in the direction that maybe their fans want them to go on. And I think as well, there is also the point that back in the 70s, you could actually make a living from being a musician. And Mr. Anderson, I'm sure, is comfortably off. He doesn't have to do this at all. I am sure he doesn't have to do this at all. So when you don't have that financial pressure or that business pressure or that maybe even motivation to do it beyond enjoying yourself, then that's fine. But I get irritated by my own. I mean, this is what, like I was saying about doing the prog stuff and the unusual time signatures, is I can't be that sort of guy. That's just not what I do. And the other point that I would make is that, I mean, my hero, Mike Oldfield, is a classic example that he did Tubular Bells, and it was like, my God, this guy's the new Sibelius. And Branson and Virgin Records, right, we need a follow-up now, and it was Hergest Ridge. And everybody went, oh. and it was like, well, that's it, he's peaked. You know, with his first album, he's peaked. But then he did Ommadawn. And to me, Ommadawn is transcendently better than Tubular Bells. I still get, I mean, just talking about it, the hair on the back of my neck is standing up. So never write off an artist as, well, they're past it. They've done. And the other guy, I mean, I'm sorry, these are all guys rather than women, because there are some immensely talented. I mean, like Kate Bush is a great example of someone who, you know, the first album was so massive, but she has gone in so many different directions. Oh, my goodness me, Hounds of Love. Where did that come from? But what was I? I've now completely lost the thread of, yeah, that was it. So if we're talking about singer-songwriters, there is one name that is inevitably going to crop up, and he's a big influence on a lot of people on FAWM, and that's Leonard Cohen. You know, and how old was he when he wrote Famous Blue Raincoat? And he was a young guy, and all his major works were when he was 30 or 40, and he plugged away, and he was still touring and everything else. And then he was in his 70s, and I'm not, we won't go into the details, but due to the actions of others, he encountered financial difficulties. Shall we just leave it as phrasing it that way? So suddenly he had no money anymore, and he lost that buffer and that safety zone and that comfort. And the last few albums that Leonard Cohen wrote, my God, I would give an arm and a leg to have written stuff like that. So you never know. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
It's like Bob Dylan. You know, when Bob Dylan's miserable, he writes amazing stuff. He gets married and suddenly it all goes to pieces. And then she leaves him and he gets divorced and he starts writing amazing stuff again, apart from the Christmas album. Just never listen to the Christmas album. Trust HFO on this, please.
Oh, my Lord. Well, as it would seem, you just need the right motivation to make greatness. If you're resting on the laurels, it's gonna be something else. Anyway, we're running out of time here. We'll be coming back on a Monday for another show. Same bad time, same bad channel. And since we were hyping up Mr. Sapient, I do have a little treat for us here.
It's only fair to bring him in, is it?
It's most certainly is. So this last song is by Mr. Sapient, and it's called A Time Beyond Time. So until next time, have a great FAWM, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.